All right, Robert, you with me?
I am with you. Can you
Good
hear
deal.
me?
I hear you loud and clear, man. Loud and clear. So let me just touch base, edit the post and put the link in. So let me see what am I getting from Mike Barber. Because he was the one that let me know. I'm sorry, Luke Barber. So I'm just gonna shoot a quick text to ask him, is the link working now? Because man, after our conversation on the telephone, I certainly want the members of the network to hear what you have to say, man. You really blew my socks off, so that's why I wanted to get you on so quickly.
Sure, sure.
Kind of see what we got going on here. So, okay, man, I see we're live. I see the stream is working. Oh, wait a minute. I see my good buddy Vance Dawson has tuned in. Is that what I'm looking at?
Oh,
Vance, listen, Vance. Okay, and for everyone who's out there, Vance is a huge Georgia fan. We're going to get into the conversation with Robert, man. We're going to talk about everything, but Vance gave me a hard time and told me how sick I was going to be actually during and after the Alabama-Georgia game. So, if you guys watched the game, you saw that Alabama was struggling until halftime. So, Vance, I want to let you know that at halftime, I called Nick Saban. I told him to relay to the team what you said to me. So, Georgia Nation, hey, Bulldog Nation, it's Vance Dawson's fault, man, that y'all lost that game. So, that's what I wanted to get to. But hey, man, I'm sorry I got to you a little bit late, got in a little bit later. But I definitely wanted to get you on and talk to you about your experiences. We had some great conversations talking about, flood adjusting. And I've been saying, one of the big picture things that's happening in this industry, and I get it, from a lot of different perspectives. One, there's a lot of adjusters who've come into the industry, a lot of new and newer adjusters who are in the industry. And then two, a lot of things are happening that just make a good business decision. If you owned a company, you're going to make some business decisions, which I think that's one of the reasons why these deployments are getting shorter and shorter. A lot of resources are thrown at it. And then from a customer service perspective, you want to service your customers and your clients as quickly as you can, which is what these firms are doing. Those seasoned adjusters who have been out in the field, they've been there quite a long time. But the things that are happening, which you shared with me, especially about the opportunity that exists in the area of being a flood adjuster, is what I wanted to talk about. I think that's one of the greatest areas of opportunity, as well as one of the questions that a lot of people ask about is how to get into flood and how to become a flood adjuster. But before I throw that question at you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
sure. I'd love to do that. First thing is I live in Kansas. I'm a native Hoosier, so I go big IU, and a lot of football tradition in the state of Indiana. But I've been in the construction business for 35 years.
Okay.
I have a degree in construction. My degree's in pastoral ministries and counseling.
Okay.
But I know how to build buildings. I've been very active and involved on that. But I first got involved in flood adjusting in the year of 1978, when the great flood of Kansas City and the Kansas City Plaza, a little creek that's about 3 feet wide, that it became a raging river and flooded the plaza area.
Wow.
I lived 5 miles south of that area, and I had a foot of water running through my yard. And during that time, we lost our furnace, crawl space got soaked. So that was my first experience with flood. Well, 35 years of construction industry, I know quite a bit about construction. I've built up to 3-story buildings.
Okay.
Right now, what we've got going on in the flood industry is we've got 2 things that's taking place. NFIP, the FEMA flood program is launched their moonshot goal to sell 5 million new policies in the next 4 years. Over the past 50 years, they've only sold 5 million policies.
Wow.
So they're going to, in 4 years, what they've done in 50 years.
What do you think is driving that?
Well, very clearly, there is a lot of, and not to be politically correct, but there is a lot of global changes that are taking place. The FEMA maps, the firm maps, they're not correct. Flooding is happening. We've got waterways that will not contain the amount of rain that's taking place.
Okay.
Ocean is rising. The other day they said it was 9 inches higher. I've been in Charleston on several different flooding events where the water's just coming into Charleston, South Carolina, just like a river would flow in. I mean, those people are getting flooded all the time. Miami is seeing an increase in water line on the shore. So we've got a lot of geological items taking place that is affecting flood on the ocean and on inland. Tremendous amount of rain. We just had tremendous amount of rains here in southeast Kansas, like 3 inches in overnight, the last 2 nights. So there's a lot of changes happening that's affecting the flood industry.
Yeah, here in the Dallas area, man, I think it was last month, we had a run of rain that just wouldn't stop. I think it rained for like maybe 4 or 5 days straight. I'll have to go back and look it up. But I do remember, we were just having a lot of conversations just saying, hey, man, this rain will not let up. So I certainly agree with you. There's a lot of changes going on. Something's going on, with the weather and things like that. I guess that would be a good after conference conversation. I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of different perspectives and ideas about what's happening with the weather, but we can all agree something's happening with the weather. So,
absolutely. Yeah,
something's happening with the weather. Now, having said that, I kind of want to get into, your background, how I know you still actually work flood, but more specifically, what I want to kind of talk about is from a perspective of someone who's an adjuster. They've heard about property and auto, and then for most of them, it's not until you actually get in the industry that you start hearing about flood adjusting. So one of the things on a recent deployment with one of the firms, a lot of people were trying to get out of the class to get into the flood class. They wanted to, hey, you want to get into flood, and this was with Michael. So
yes.
And they were saying, hey, no, we want to get into this flood class. We know what's going on. Things are just happening. You might get sent out on a deployment. You're on standby. And then you may or may not go forward from there. So if you will, share with us a little bit about your thoughts about what's going on in the industry. And then, why somebody really wants to look at becoming a flood adjuster.
Sure. Let me first address 3 things. Property adjusters are ones who knows how to relate to people.
Okay.
You got to know how to relate to people, or you're not going to be successful in this business. The second thing is they need to understand the policy coverage.
Right.
Third thing is they need to know how to complete a great adjustment package.
Okay.
And where flood adjusting comes in. If you do not know how to complete a great adjustment package, then you're not going to be successful at this. I have a tremendous amount of people that have come to my boot camp that are very successful wind and hail adjusters. They can write all day long, but they also call me and they say, hey, Bob, I have got a flood assignment and I am lost and do not know where to begin.
Okay.
And I tell you, flood adjusting is not easy. If people are looking for something easy, this is not an easy part of the industry to get into, because it's a full service. You take it from cradle to grave.
Mm-hmm.
from when you get it, the first notice of loss, if there's any supplements, or we call those wraps in the flood industry, you're dealing with those. If you walk away from those, the IA firm or the carrier you're working with, they're going to be a little just upset with you because they want you to provide excellent customer service with those people. So I want to start right here and say this. There are some changes that are going to happen in the wind and hail industry. And your friend and my good friend, Vance Dawson, we spent about 2 hours talking about that the other day.
Okay.
And there's a lot of things that probably you're going to cover in your conference related to that. But to get into flood adjustment, very first thing is you've got to have 4 years of estimating experience. If you don't know how to write an estimate, you're going to be way off and way behind. There are several platforms, estimating platforms. Xactimate's one, Symbility, SimSol is one that is used for writing estimates. And if you're not knowledgeable with those platforms, then you've got to become knowledgeable with those.
Okay.
Different IA firms and different carriers require different estimating platforms. The second, another item as it relates to flood adjusting is you've got the NFIP or FEMA flood, and then you've got the private flood. I've been online with the state of Texas Department of Insurance, the state of Indiana Department of Insurance, the state of Florida Department of Insurance. Now, we know that those three states most likely reciprocate to all other states as it relates to adjuster's license.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All three of those states, if you are adjusting private flood insurance, you have got to have a state adjuster's license. If you are a FEMA adjuster and have your FCN card, that is a federal certification, and it is not subject to the state, and you can go anywhere and work a FEMA flood loss as long as you have your FCN card.
Okay.
There are two types of adjusters. There are certified adjusters, and then there are mentees or trainees. I'm not a trainer, and I have a lot of trainees. To get into the flood adjusting business, if you've never worked a flood loss at all, getting your FCN card, which that is a one-day class, okay, 8 hours, that is put on by FEMA, that says you've attended our class, we're going to send you your FCN card. That does not make you a flood adjuster.
Right.
In fact, that makes you a very dangerous person.
Okay.
Adjusting world. Now, all the IA firms, and I'm not going to name them, but they all have some training. I have attended most of the large IA firm flood training classes.
Okay.
In those flood training classes, they range anywhere from 1 to 2 to 3 days. Rarely have they been longer than that. They bring you in, they train you, they equip you, you walk out and you're still lost. In our flood boot camp, our 5-day flood boot camp, we go over policy, we go over all of the different flood type scenarios. We take you out and give you an in-field, boots on the ground opportunity to inspect a simulated flood, and you write an estimate, you submit it to us, we review it and send it back to you, just like you would get as if you were working for an IA
right,
firm.
If you're on it. Okay, good deal.
So there's a lot to that. What you get with the IA company and what you get with us. Guarantee you that you will walk out. And if you go to our website at NFIPfloodbootcamp.com and you review the people that have given us live testimonials, this is not somebody that has said something and we've typed words, but these are people that have actually graduated from our boot camp, and they will tell you how much they've learned. One of the nice things about our boot camp is once you come through our boot camp, as an alumni, you can come back and sit in on any other boot camp that we have to get brushed up if you need to.
That's good.
Now, I want to tell you, you have to have a certain amount of years of adjusting experience to be a flood adjuster. And after you get that experience, then you've got to go so many other years to be able to bump up to go from your single family dwelling to your mobile home to small commercial to go to large commercial. You've got to have additional years. And to go from there to the RC back, which is large condominiums and condominium associations, you got to have years of experience there. I have had that years of experience. I've been mentored by people. Let me tell you, it doesn't happen. If you go out and you want to work a flood assignment and somebody gives you an apartment complex or somebody gives you a large loss, you're going to be lost if you don't have help. So you better make sure that you get the right education. One of the things, like I said, that we do is we take you through that. We have the residential dwelling, the mobile home, the small commercial. Then we also the large commercial boot camp, and then we have the NFIP boot camp. We also have a tool that's coming out that's called the pencil sharpener, pencil sharpener. And it's just a small subscription. You sign up for that. We send you an assignment once a month, and you complete that assignment and send it back, and we'll review it and send it back to you and tell you where you need to improve or point out highlights very well. Now, with that being said, flood adjusting is a nightmare. You realize there's over 14 forms that you got to fill out. And if you miss a checkbox on one of those forms, we all know the term, it's coming back, right?
Yeah, it's coming back.
It's coming back.
Okay.
Depending upon who your reviewer is, they may tell you what box you missed. Or they may say you missed a box, and then you're spending 2 hours looking for that box.
Right.
It's important to get training in this. Now, I want to tell you, this is the honest to God's truth. I don't know if you've experienced this, but I'll tell you, I worked 66 claims in Harvey.
Okay. And I was about to get to that because I don't want anyone to get discouraged from saying, hey, okay, well then why do I want to deal with that? Why do I want to go through this? So you say you worked 66 claims in Harvey. Go ahead.
I worked 66 claims in Harvey. 10 of those claims were CWAPs, closed without payment.
Okay.
That left me 56 claims that I had left. Those 56 claims, my take home from that was $186,000, almost $4,000 per claim.
And how long were you out?
Now, we all know I arrived down there at the end of August, and I was sitting home having Thanksgiving dinner with my family. So I worked from the end of August to Thanksgiving dinner. Was I there in Houston that entire time? No, I was in Houston 3 weeks. I inspected out all of my claims, and then I went home and wrote them. At that time, I sent all those claims up. I'm here to tell you, as of today, and knock on wood, I closed 66 claims and have had no wraps or supplements at all.
Good deal, man.
The money's in. So it is lucrative. I'll give you a comparison. I have a colleague of mine who went to Irma, and worked over 250 claims in Irma. They made about 300 grand. That's no problem. But they handled 250 claims. I handled 66 claims. You do the math. How many people do you talk to? How many places do you drive? How long do you be there? He was there until after the first of the year. I wasn't. So that's why a lot of adjusters are wanting to transition over to flood. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about the last two storms we've had.
Okay.
We had Michael. If you go to my website at NFIPfloodbootcamp.com, I've got articles wrote there. Florence did not turn out to be as big as a flood event as we would have liked for it to have been.
Right.
Why? Had nothing to do with the fact that there wasn't flooding. It had everything to do with only 3% of the state of North Carolina carries flood insurance. So there wasn't very many people down there that had flood insurance. And the flood losses were not there. Going to Michael, I wrote 4 days before Michael ever hit land that this is going to be a wind event and not a flood event.
Okay.
And even the wind event didn't hit a major metropolitan area. It skirted off and hit the national forest areas. Yeah. And so now there's some wind damage down there, and there's guys down there working, but very little flood. The flooding that took place was along the shorelines, and when there's nothing left there, I mean, nothing is standing, the water's washed it away. Do you think an insurance company is going to send out a flood adjuster to take a picture of a flat slab? No. They're probably going to send down their staff adjuster. He's going to go out there and take a picture of that flat slab, and they're going to write the estimate. Now, that is somewhat discouraging. Yeah. Because that's the way we make our living. They ask us to be loyal to them, so we sit here and we wait and we wait and we wait, and then things like that happen. But the IA firms have no control over that. They cannot control the carrier on what they're doing. So with the NFIP flood, it takes training. You got to know what you're doing. You've got to be ready to go. You've got to get your certification. You've got to get out there and get that one-day class that's put on by FEMA. I will tell you, we're trying to get certified for that. We have not reached that goal yet, but that is one of the goals.
Yeah, but now you do have courses that some classes with you where people can get CE credits, and there are some classes that you are certified to teach. Now, what classes are those?
Okay, sure, exactly. Well, here's what we've got. We've got the NFIP 5-day flood boot camp that provides 24 CE credits in the state of Texas, the state of Indiana, and we've applied for Florida. We have not been approved by Florida yet. We have submitted our application for a 2-hour ethics class. So if you're licensed in Texas or you're licensed in Indiana, there's 24 CE hours. You can come to our boot camp and you can get all your CE credits at one place without having to go all over to various different places to get those CE credits.
Okay.
We also have a partnership that we do for certified Xactimate training. I'm not ready to talk a lot about that, but we do have that we can get you certified 1, 2, and 3 certification.
Okay, good deal.
I want to say this, Mike, right here, which is I'm very excited and very excited that we're going to be launching in January our online training course. Okay. Now, if you come to our boot camp, that's great. But we are going to be launching an online boot camp where you can, the same thing that you cover at the training, at the 5-day boot camp, You can get that online. You could set it at the leisure of your own home at night when you have nothing to do. You can sit there and you can go through the whole training. There is one caveat. We're still working out on how to really work out the inspection. Now, at 5-day training, we do walk you through a online virtual reality training. So you would get to walk right through with us. But we know that there's a lot of questions that come up, and we encourage all of our people to send in our questions. We have a frequent asked questions on our website. People ask us and we answer those questions there. And we ask, hey, read through those questions, Google search them, make sure that you have that. If it's a new question, I'm not going to promise you we're going to answer that. We also have a website that a Facebook page, I should say. We do have one now, but we are coming out with one for those that come to our boot camp, that if they have questions, they can come back and they can ask us, and we can answer those questions. Other alumni will be willing to help them answer those questions. But one of the things that is important, Mike, is if you come to our boot camp, or if you get on our online class, which is a savings to you, we are here to help you. We want you to be successful as a flood adjuster.
Well, that's good, man. I appreciate that. You know, I think it really does make sense for you to have a separate portal, so to speak. So after someone comes through your boot camp, they can plug right in, get some help from, you know, your people, your staff, and then some other people who've gone through the boot camp. That sounds like a real good knowledge base, you know, just that's going to come out of that portal, or shall I say that group. But I did want to mention this because there are some people who are listening in who probably didn't catch the interview with Bruce Arthurman and Jill Smith. Bruce and Jill are both certified Xactimate trainers. They're going to be at the Independent Claim Adjuster Network. They're going to be teaching a couple of classes there. And then they have 2 sessions. They're actually, people are signing up for their sessions, or shall I say their classes that they're holding prior to. And then they're holding some additional classes after the conference for those people who actually want to get that experience, because as you mentioned earlier, it is important for, if somebody's going to want to eventually make their way to work flood, they need to know how to work the software or be exposed to the software that's being used in the industry. So I definitely want people to know that if you haven't been exposed to Xactimate, we don't have anyone at the conference from Symbility, but I think Xactimate is probably being used by maybe 85 to 90% of the insurance companies that are out there. And they're going to be at the conference. So this is, especially for new and newer adjusters, this is a great opportunity for you to get some exposure to some software you need to know something about. And then for the more seasoned adjusters who want to transition into flood, you definitely want to come out here so you can talk to Robert, meet with Robert, find out how you can get plugged in with his system. And I also don't want to forget this. At the conference, you're going to be doing something special for people who are going to come to the conference. And when you mentioned it to me, it made a lot of sense. There are thousands of adjusters in the business. What's separating you from someone else? You know, if we both have equal qualifications on the sheet of paper, what's going to separate one person from another? So if you will, share with the people a little bit about what you have in store for those who want to take advantage of it.
Well, we're trying to put together for your conference the ability to give adjusters an opportunity to take a 3 to 5 minute video, and if they bring their SD card, we're going to take the opportunity to give them a video, have all the proper lighting, and they need to work on their script so that they can introduce themselves. A piece of paper sometimes has a good story, but when you sell yourself and you put a face behind that piece of paper, people are more likely to be very interested in you. And so, I encourage everybody when they're trying to market themselves, to get themselves out there to people, hey, let's give them a 3 to 5 minute little bio. Tell them what you've done and where you've been and what you hope to do. Because the bottom line of it is if we don't produce and make our clients happy, and who is our clients? If our customers, if our insureds aren't happy and making and telling the IA companies how satisfied they are with our service, then our name may not be remembered the next time.
Certainly that. And I've said this, and I'll continue to say it, man. At this business, you definitely want to know the business and know what you're doing. But this is a customer service business, and I say, man, make no mistake about it. We're providing a service, a customer service friendly business. But I appreciate that, and I'm going to say this because, when I asked you to send me some information, just send me some information about you and your company, because of course I wanted to learn some more about you. And what you sent over to me, as soon as I opened the file, just the way it was presented, if I was on my other computer, I would ask your permission to share it, but I can't do that anyway. But it was such an attractive document to look at, So I said, man, if someone was submitting a resume or an application, and this was laying on the desk next to 10 others just scattered out, you're gonna pick this one up, and you're gonna want to read it because it was so attractive. Just the way you had it set up, formatted, and laid out. That's something that I'm definitely going to adopt, and something that I'm definitely going to want to share with some of the newer adjusters who are coming into business. I won't mention which firm because they have not given me a confirmation that they're going to be there. But when I was talking to the HR recruiter at that firm, she mentioned some things to me that I think can really help newer adjusters out. And a lot of the things she talked about was their social profile, because I guess, a lot of people think it's my social profile, it's my Facebook page, but it speaks volumes about who you are when you put certain things out there. If you're trying to go to another company and sell your services to them, they're going to want to check you out. And if they can't get past what you have in your social profile, then they're probably not going to send you out on behalf of their firm to represent a carrier to a customer. It's just not going to happen. So those are some of the things that we're going to open up, just spend at least some time on. But I think what we should also mention in there is, just some tidbits that I just picked up from you. I try to tell people all the time, man, listen, I think I just put together a good platform where we can bring the right people together. By far, I know I'm not the best adjuster out there. In fact, let me make mention of this. I have a gentleman that's going to come on. We're going to bring him on mid next week, who, in my opinion, as far as the people I've been exposed to, is the best adjuster I've ever been exposed to. And I wish I could show everybody what he showed me. He's putting up some unbelievable numbers. And man, I think I'd take off probably about 4 years if I took on what he took off in 1 year. So, but when he comes on, I'll let him tell his own business. I don't want to go that far into it. But he's going to be teaching the class from an adjuster perspective of how you can really make the money in this business on a deployment, which I think is important. But I also think that as we grow in this business, we definitely want to have. Now, somebody correct me on this. Is it be a certified flood adjuster, or is it an authorized flood adjuster?
Well, FEMA, if you look at your card, it says authorized flood adjuster.
Okay.
So that's where it's at.
Okay, because someone was correcting me in the conversation, and hey, I'm open for correction all day long, man. I'm learning and growing in this business as well. But I think that what we want to do is, man, if I don't have to go out and write 250 claims and be gone twice as long, if I can cut that down to 66 claims and in 3 months make, in my opinion, that what would be better money, hey, that's what I want to do. I want to work smarter and not harder. You know, I have other interests out there, and I've shared this with other people. I see this business as a storm restoration industry. You know, and it's not just about taking care of the customer. There are thousands of things that can be done in this business, and adjusting is just a small portion of it. So I don't think I think it's a great doorway into other opportunities, and I think the sky's the limit. You know, in talking to Dave, you know, his company, great. What I like about him is that he's been an adjuster as well. You've been in the business for 35 years in multiple capacities. So I tell people, listen, man, if you want to be mentored by the right people, come out and meet them. You know, you want to be a part of who's really doing some things in this industry. Like, I've never heard anyone going out putting up numbers like you just shared with us. If I'm growing, this is the direction I want to grow in. This is the, you know, if I'm going to set my sights on someone, I want to teach me something in this area, you're my guy. You know, you're my guy. So, and hey, so I'll be sitting down in one of your classes, in one of your sessions, moving in the right direction. So, again, for somebody who's a veteran adjuster, and I don't know how I want to classify veteran. I may say 8 to 10 years, so maybe not a veteran yet, but you're a little more seasoned than a new adjuster, and you're ready to grow to the next step. If you want to come out, man, and you want to meet Robert and come on out and talk to him about what he's doing, I'm going to have his full profile and everything uploaded to our website, which is ICAN, adjusterconference.com. So you'll be able to go there, read about him, go to his website. He's mentioned it a couple of times, and of course he can mention it when I give him the floor to close it out. I want you guys to go to his website, reach out to him, find out how you can get in his classes, come out and listen to what he's going to teach us about what we need to do so that we can make the right moves into becoming a flood adjuster at the conference, as well as take advantage of what he's going to be providing to help us with our personal profiles. So, man, I appreciate it. But in closing out, what do we need to know about making this transition in the right direction?
Well, Mike, let's wrap this up and put it out like this.
Okay.
We need to be experienced. We need to have the years of experience. If we don't have the years of experience, doesn't mean that you can't get involved, become a trainee, and work with somebody in the flood and industry, which I can introduce you to a plethora of people that would help you know that. Remember this, the reason why you want to get into this. If FEMA sold 5 million policies in 50 years,
yeah,
and they want to sell 5 million policies in the next 4 years,
yeah,
how many adjusters are they going to need?
Great point.
I'm telling you right now, the time is right to become a flood adjuster.
Great point. Those are great points.
That we haven't really talked about, we won't go into it right now, but there's the private flood insurance that's coming on.
Yeah.
It's in place now. But
so listen, can I ask you this? At the conference, you mind touching on that a little bit for the attendees at the conference?
Well, I'd be willing to address the NFIP versus the private flood.
Okay. All right. Good point. Good
I
deal.
can address that.
All right. If you'll address that, and then something that we also talked about, how to stop losing money neglecting expenses. So, man, if you'll take on those sessions, I'm going to update the information online. Listen, those will be 2 big home runs.
I would be willing to address those issues. That is not a problem at all. We've got a little app that we're working on that can help adjusters. Hey, if we don't protect our money, who's going to protect it for us?
That's right. So especially with all of the changes that are coming down, as far as they got implemented this year with the new tax laws, how they're going to affect us filing our taxes. So we definitely need to know how to do that.
Oh, absolutely. There's this in the industry right now, everybody's saying, "Hey, I'm being paid as a W-2 employee.
Yeah.
How can I take my deductions on that?" And that's a new issue that's coming up. So we need to learn how to address those issues.
Okay, well, hey, listen, I'm just looking down here. I want to make sure if anybody asks the question. Okay, Rent McWater is asking, how can I enroll in the course? So if you will you give us your website again so he can actually contact you directly at your website?
Absolutely. Right here, if you can see in the background up here is a website, NFIPfloodbootcamp.com. NFIP floodbootcamp.com. And there are ways you can register right now. We have our list of in-person classes up on the website. They're spread out all over the country from the West Coast to the East Coast. But if those don't fit into your schedule, we are launching in January our online course. And you can take that online course. There is a savings if you take the online course. Obviously, let me point out these benefits. Online, you can sit at home and do it at the convenience of your own time. You don't have to pay for hotel, lodging, food, and travel.
Okay.
So you can think about that. But we do have the live boot camps. I know everybody learns at a different temperament, and some want to come and sit and listen, and others want to do the online. Bottom line is if you do the online course, we still send you all the information as if you were coming to a personal class.
Good deal. So nobody misses anything.
Nobody misses anything.
Yeah, don't let them miss anything. Hey, look, Robert, what I like to do, man, is kind of peg you as our resident flood information guy, our NFIP guy, man. So as you stay on top of the information and stay abreast of the information that's coming out, from time to time, man, I'd like to touch base with you. You can reach out to me if it's pertinent information that needs to get out to the community. And let's, do another live stream. Let's keep the information out in front of them so we can help the people who are involved in the network be as successful as they possibly can. And I think a part of that is making sure we can keep this information in front of them, especially as these types of changes happen. Are you okay with that?
I'm very fine with that. And we'll work. I'll keep you posted with any new articles I have coming out. And we stay up to date with all of the latest information related to flood. I personally attend the National Flood Conference in Washington, D.C. For those that are out there, FEMA just released the new the claims manual. They can go and download that. That is part of the curriculum in the course. When you come, we put that in your hands as a hard copy. So there's a lot more information related to the course, whether you come to the course or you do it online, we still get that information to you.
Okay. Hey, man, that's a big nugget right there, just to know that now, if they wanted to go out and download that information, where do they need to go?
They can go to the NFIP, it's NFIPiService.gov, and you would pull that down. It's the new manual. It was published in August 2018. Okay. Now, let me tell you, this is how committed I am to the program. The day that they released that, I printed that dude off.
Okay.
I have had 3 revisions since I printed it off. It is the goal of that new claims manual is to be a virtual online, because they can make the adjustments and change everything right there online. But I still like to have it printed off in my hand. That is our textbook that we use in the course, and we go through the pages on it. We highlight the pages. It's just an awesome book to have. And if you don't have it as a flood adjuster, you will not be successful.
Gotcha. I understand. Well, hey, listen, I appreciate your time, man. Again, I apologize I got back to you a little bit late, but I appreciate your time, and I'm not going to hold you all night. I know my good friend and your good friend Dave is probably watching, so I'm going to give him a big roll tide.
Sure.
But hey, listen, we'll be in touch. We'll be in contact. And I'm going to, as I stated, I'll get your information and profile updated on the website so people can make sure that they get to you. And we'll get them all the information they need to know about what you're going to be talking about at the ICANN Adjuster Conference.
Okay, sir.
Hey, man, you have a good one. Thanks again.
You have a good one, too. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody out there.
Hey, man. Thanks.
All righty. Mm-hmm.